The cup was emptied and would never be filled again. Steppenwolf, which is German for stepwolf, is one of the new gods, the maternal uncle of the supervillain Darkseid, the brother of Hegra, the great uncle of Kilowak and Orion, and a member of Darkseid's elite. He first appeared in New Gods number 7 in 1972, and in this faithful issue, it was revealed that Steppenwolf had a hand in starting the war between Apokolips and New Genesis, the twin planets of the New Gods. Apokolips was ruled by the evil Darkseid, and was the homeworld of the Dark Gods, while New Genesis was ruled by Highfather, and was basically DC's version of Asgard. The twin planets engaged in a war that burned for millennia, and that conflict was kindled by Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf was charged by Darkseid to murder the wife of Highfather, the leader of the forces of good on New Genesis, who in return led his forces against Darkseid. During the many battles, Steppenwolf was killed. Highfather became so bloodthirsty that he prayed for a way to end the brutal conflict. From here, Highfather became one with the Source, a mystical universal energy that inspired George Lucas to create the thing that he created, and renounced war. Darkseid and Highfather traded sons to broker a peace treaty, as Highfather's son Mr. Miracle was sent to Apokolips, while Darkseid's son Orion was sent to New Genesis. The entire foundation of DC's New Gods saga was laid because of Steppenwolf's brutality. What about his powers? He is an immortal, with vast superhuman strength, endurance and speed, capable of lifting about 10,000 tons and jumping huge distances easily. He has superhuman reflexes and a high degree of invulnerability, which increases with his battle armor and allows him to resist most physical and energetic attacks. When did it all start? Harry Haler, a middle-aged intellectual, moves into a lodging house in a medium-sized generic town which is never named. Despairing and melancholy, Harry finds himself to be a wolf of the steppes, or Steppenwolf, adrift and alone in a world that's incomprehensible to him and offers him no joy. Steppenwolf recounts Harry's pain and anxiety as he tries to overcome his crippling sense of dislocation and despair at the futility of humanity. Harry is repulsed by the productive, organized and diligent optimism of the bourgeoisie or middle class. Even so, he is bewitched by its charms. Caught between the urges of his wolf half and his man half, Harry can neither completely disavow nor embrace a conventional way of life. He regularly contemplates committing suicide. One night, while Harry walks unhappily through an old quarter of the city, he sees a sign over a door he has never noticed before. The sign reads, "Magic Theatre, entrance not for everybody." More letters reflected on the street spell out, "For madmen only." Harry cannot open the door, but a sign bearer advertising the Magic Theatre gives Harry a booklet entitled Treatise on the Steppenwolf. This booklet contains a precise description of the way Harry feels as a Steppenwolf. It speaks of a person who is half man and half wolf, who hates the bourgeoisie lifestyle, but who's also at the same time incapable of surrendering himself to the pleasure of the senses. Steppenwolf best moments: Invasion of Earth.
I think there's an attack coming.
Not coming, Bruce. It's already here.
The War of Earth was a series of conflicts between the newly formed superhero team Justice League and Steppenwolf and his army of parademons from the planet Apokolips. The war actually began thousands of years ago when Darkseid and his armies first arrived on Earth and battled against a united force of Amazons, Old Gods, a Green Lantern Corps member, Atlanteans, and all the tribes of men. See Invasion of Earth. It was ended in 2017. Steppenwolf and his armies attempted to invade Earth under Darkseid orders. However, Steppenwolf was defeated and slain by the Justice League at the Battle of Posnerov. First invasion. It was by the forces of Apokolips occurred 5,000 years ago, when a young Darkseid discovered and temporarily gained access to the anti-life equation. Unfortunately, before he could use it, Darkseid was defeated, nearly dying from his wounds, and forced to retreat by a combined army comprised of humans, Amazons, and Atlanteans, along with the involvement of Ares, Zeus, and Artemis of Old Gods, and Yalan Gur, a member of the Green Lantern Corps. The second invasion and end of Steppenwolf's exile. An attempt to invade Earth was later undertaken by Apokoliptian forces led by Steppenwolf in 2017. However, like the first invasion, the second attempt failed and Steppenwolf was slain by the newly formed Justice League. However, despite Steppenwolf's defeat and failure, Darkseid was informed of the Anti-Life's whereabouts and began making preparations to acquire it. His most notable moments. The character's most notable moment came when Kenner graced the world with a Steppenwolf action figure as part of its immortal superpower line of toys. The original comic version of Steppenwolf had a strange green face and wore a jaunty little cone hat, but the new Steppenwolf was an axe-wielding badass and joined the other more notable minions of Darkseid on toy shelves everywhere in the mid to late 80s. When Steppenwolf returned to the DC Universe proper in 1996, it was in the Kenner outfit. That pretty awesome toy axe is on prime display in Zack Snyder's Justice League. What makes Steppenwolf unique? Though Steppenwolf doesn't possess any special abilities, his combat skills mixed with his super strength and durability make him a good warm-up from the League faces Darkseid. And when it comes to his film adaptation, most of his changes are superficial. Considering Steppenwolf goes toe-to-toe with Superman, Wonder Woman and Aquaman in Justice League, it's clear that his strength and resilience from the comics have been carried over to the film. Indeed, though he's certainly capable of being worn down and injured, he easily withstands some pretty seismic attacks from Superman. Given that, one can only imagine how difficult that vastly more powerful Darkseid will be when he shows up in the future. Is Steppenwolf stronger than Thanos? Steppenwolf is strong, but not as compared to Thanos. Thanos is equal to the DCU should be Darkseid. In the original Snyder cut, it should have shown that Darkseid easily kills Steppenwolf, probably with his Omega Beam. Considering Darkseid is equal to Thanos, Thanos could beat Steppenwolf easily as well. Steppenwolf vs Superman. Superman's pure strength is far more and superior to that of Wonder Woman's. Because of Superman's brute strength, he was able to beat Steppenwolf, but Wonder Woman has better fighting skills and that's why she can damage Superman. Darkseid, Steppenwolf, complex relationship. In the DC Comics, Steppenwolf, created by Jack Kirby, was one of the new gods that lived on hellish Apokolips. His brother was the planet's first ruler, Yuga Khan, whose son was a new god named Uxas. Lusting for dominion over Apokolips, Uxas battled his father and killed him, but not before Steppenwolf and many of the new gods presumably battled Uxas. Uxas won, claimed Apokolips, and took the name Darkseid. While in Snyder's Justice League, Darkseid mentions that Steppenwolf is Darkseid's nephew, not uncle, there are parallels between the betrayal from the comics and in the film. In the DCEU, Steppenwolf challenged Darkseid's right to rule, and that betrayal resulted in his banishment. Why did the Parademons attack Steppenwolf in the Justice League? The Parademons turned on Steppenwolf simply because for the first time in his long life, he felt fear and they smelled it on him. At that point, he was like any other trembling creature that they attacked. The combination of Superman beating him and freezing his axe, and Wonder Woman destroying it, proved to be more than he could handle. Is Steppenwolf a true victim of the Justice League? In scenes where he reports to Darkseid, you can see how distraught he is. He's clearly devoted to conquering planets, but he wishes to do it with Darkseid's blessing, not simply as a punishment. It does not help that with his upgrade in design, Steppenwolf looks like a sad puppy at times. His eyes are expressive, and when you see his disappointment, frustration or sorrow, you actually respond to it. There's a particular moment when Darkseid speaks to his banished uncle. During this interaction, not only does Steppenwolf look up to him with "take me back" eyes, but Steppenwolf's armor peels away so that he may fully prostrate himself. It's a revealing moment that shows the power dynamic more than words ever could. When Steppenwolf realizes he has accidentally discovered the anti-life equation is on Earth, he finally sees his moment of redemption. At this point, he is frantic in getting what he wants. There is a fever of devotion in his eyes to try and achieve his goal and return home. Unfortunately, like in the Whedon cut, there's an obvious obstacle in Steppenwolf's way. Lessons to learn from Steppenwolf. Number 1. Better to be an asshole than a chicken shit. The central exercise of the workshop was a bastardized Meisner exercise. Meisner is all about repetition. Two actors facing away from each other on stage turn in and say the first physical thing they noticed about their partner. Blue eyes, the other person repeats, and back and forth like that until one or the other notices a new physical attribute. This shifts over time into noticing behavior. "You're nervous," says one. "I'm nervous," the other repeats, until someone notices a change. You must repeat exactly what the other person said, regardless if that is how you feel or not. This graduates into given circumstances, text, and a range of other variations. Number 2. Take it personally. So often we're told as actors to not take it personally, and this is absolutely true until you step onto stage or set. From that moment on, you should be taking everything personally. Acting is all about reacting, right? To be affecting you must be affected. In the workshop, Amy and Audrey declared the stage to be Vegas. In Vegas, you get what you want. You don't let anything get in your way. People aren't polite. Sorry, Las Vegas, this is a gross representation of your fine city. People put everything on the line and risk it all. Off the stage in the audience was declared Kansas. Now in Kansas, you have to be polite and kind to people. You have to protect yourself emotionally. In Kansas, you can't be walking around in a state of constant vulnerability, open to all of your impulses and ready for change. The outside world will crush you. Number 3. No one needs your apology. One cannot apologize for something fundamental, and a child feels and knows this as well and as deeply as any sage. Hermann Hesse, De Man, die Geschheit von Emil Sinclair's Jugend. I don't know if there's anything worse than seeing an actor apologize for their work. Whether that's because they don't feel like they have done enough preparation, or that the work they are doing isn't up to the audience's standards, it is a painful thing to watch. Amy said no one needs your apology. Every apology is putting other people in the position of looking after you, which is bullshit. Casting directors didn't bring you in their packed schedules to hear your apologies. The other actors working 3 jobs, driving their kids to school and working bars at nighttime don't need them either. What we need is the work. Dan Turpin and death. You were willing to die, you coward, but not to live. Hermann Hesse, Steppenwolf. Ultimately, Steppenwolf was defeated by the combined efforts of the Justice League. Caught in the rage of his defeat, he leaves himself open to be impaled by Aquaman from behind. Superman then punches him into the boom tube and he's decapitated by Wonder Woman as he flies through, killing him and ending the invasion.